Hi everyone. So, welcome to another FMLLE Spotlight episode. As I'm sure you all know, my guest of today is the beautiful Simran, who is a lingerie wear designer working within the intimate wear field, and she's achieved so much at such a young age, where she's had her pieces showcased at various fashion shows, as well as winning the best collection at National Institute of Fashion Technology in Bangalore. And so I'm so excited to learn more about her and take you with me on this journey. Hey Simran,
Hi, Alicia.
how are you?
I'm good, thank you. What about you?
Yes, all good. So I'm really happy to speak to you again. I know that when we spoke the last time, we had a few connectivity issues. So hopefully, fingers crossed that everything goes better this time.
Fingers crossed.
Um, so before I get into any of the questions, something that we always ask our female podcast guests is how they've been lately, because I think it's something that we hear on a day-to-day basis, but we don't always kind of listen to the person answering. So I'd love to know how you've been lately.
It's been a tough time for I think everyone out in the world, and right now, at least for me, it's been like my classes have been online, so everything is shifted online now, and like back home, a lot of people like are falling sick, and it's really like it's a difficult time for people there, and being away from my family, it's again a difficult task, but we all are dealing with it, and we have to like evolve. I feel with the times.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this time is just all about kind of adapting and evolving. But I'm happy to hear that you're safe and that you're doing fine. So before we kind of get into your career and your journey to it, I want you to take us a few years back, where your journey to being a lingerie wear designer started. And I know that your family is from a business background, and you kind of deviated from that to study fashion. And I know that your love for lingerie kind of started from your love for romance novels and all of that, but something that I really want to know is, first of all, why you chose to do lingerie, and also how was it having a conversation with your parents? Because I think in Indian households, sometimes it can be a little tricky, like speaking about such topics that can be a little bit of a stigma in the Indian culture. So I'd love to know how you kind of dealt with that.
So it all began when I was in my 12th standard. Like I studied my 11th in science and my 12th in commerce. So I never expected to actually enter the field of fashion or even arts for that matter. So when I was in my 12th, I happened to sit with my brother and I told him that I'm really confused. What do I do? So he said, what's your passion? What are you passionate about? So I said, I think it's fashion. So he said, okay, why don't you research which is the best fashion institute in India and apply for that? So when I just Googled it, NIFT popped out. And that's where my entire journey began. Like I began studying for it. Like I had no experience in art. Like I wasn't good with a pen or even with colors, or my aesthetics weren't that good either. But then I started developing it. I started attending like art classes. And in Goa, we don't have any training centers or any training like specially for fashion. So I had to go to a lot of different art classes and learn from there. And slowly I just entered the like I remember going for the NIFT exam, and there were so many people over there answering this one exam. I was really scared. I was like, I'm not going to get in this university for sure.
Yeah.
As fate would have it, like I got through and I got knitwear design. So the thing is, in NIFT, when you enter, everyone wants to do fashion design because that's the hot cake. Like everyone wants
So
to
it's very competitive.
go for that. So, but then I ended up getting knitwear, and I thought, okay, how can I make the best of the situation? And I like researched about it. And since, as you said, like from my childhood, I loved reading novels like romance novels, as well as my mom. She used to get these beautiful pieces of lingerie from Europe whenever she would come back to India, and I was just fascinated with the lace detailing and the fabric. And that's why I thought, okay, why don't I make this my career, like something that I love, and turn it into something that I can earn from and earn a living from. So that's how I began, like, okay, focusing in knitwear. I started focusing on lingerie. And although my friends were like stitching dresses and other like things in knits, I would just focus on lingerie. I was like, I'm going to make this into a French knicker. I'm going to make this into a negligee. So that's what I went on. And telling my parents, I am really grateful to have very supportive family and very supportive parents, especially who knew like they have an eye for business. So they knew that, okay, this is something that the future, it could work really well in the future. And so although like there were some hurdles, like a lot of uncles would like ask me, are you sure about the data, or like are you sure you're doing the right thing? I said, yeah, maybe. Because I felt at that time, even as a kid, like even now, I'm quite confused. Sometimes I just think that, oh, I can't do this. This is just getting out of hand. But then, you motivate yourself and tell yourself that you've done a lot right now, and there's so much more to learn in this field. You're just a beginner.
Yeah, absolutely. So would you say that now people in India are a bit more accepting of what you're doing, or are you still kind of receiving a few looks from like those aunties and uncles that were kind of critical in the beginning?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people are accepting, and they see, like, the thing is, right now we are in such a different age where we can find everything online. Like, everything is connected in the world, and nothing is isolated. Like, people can see what's happening in New York, what's happening in London, just right from their homes or from their phone. It's more of a global world now, and the concept of lingerie isn't that taboo anymore, I feel, in India. And also brands like Zavami and so many other Indian brands that are selling intimate wear have started putting out ads that talk about this and address this topic. So that's a great start, I feel. And
Yeah, absolutely. I think people are definitely, I think, becoming more comfortable with lingerie and kind of the whole concept around that. So I think that's definitely a positive. And you mentioned that you've already achieved so much, and I mentioned that before as well. And obviously, I was there at Leicester Fashion Week and I saw your pieces. I'd love for you to tell us a bit more about how it felt to have your pieces showcased, because I know that you had Leicester Fashion Week, another one in Bangalore, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, so how did that feel just to have, models wear your pieces for the very first time, really?
so the first time actually was when it was my graduation show in NIFT, and that was really nice but the thing was that I wasn't allowed to showcase my garments as like lingerie on the stage. They had to wear three layers over it. So
Wow.
so I had to stitch 15 pieces. If everyone else was stitching like 5 pieces, I had to stitch 15 because my first five were my lingerie sets, and then they were like a negligee or a pinoir or something over it, so you cover it. Because my faculty said that, okay, you have made this beautiful lingerie, but sadly we cannot showcase it because there are going to be dignitaries over there, and there'll be state like executives and stuff. So we cannot showcase like lingerie on the stage.
Yeah.
I said, okay, I'll make more pieces, and I put in a lot more effort for that, and voila, that happened. And luckily, they really liked it, so I was able to secure the best design collection.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah. And when it came to in the India Intimate Fashion Week and Leicester Fashion Week, I was quite shocked actually. I applied as a volunteer. Like, I really wanted to work backstage, and I
Oh.
volunteer backstage. But they actually liked my work, and they said, okay, we can accept you as a volunteer, but would you also like to would you like to showcase your garments over there? So I said, definitely, that would be a great opportunity. So it was amazing, amazing.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's very surreal, I think, to see something that you've designed, that you've created, to then see it on models. I think it's unreal. And so on that, actually, so obviously we know that a lot of brands are now catering to kind of plus size women, and you've got different sizes now, ranging from extra small to XXXL, which I think is amazing, because I think it's promoting the whole inclusivity like movement. I'm sure that with lingerie it can get a little bit tricky, because I'm sure that some fabrics may be a bit more difficult to work with. How Oh, I guess, what's your idea around how to best cater for that? Because I'm sure that it is challenging at times to cater for all sizes, but I think it is really important that designers continue to do that.
Yeah, so the most important part about sizing is that you need to know grading. So lingerie is a very technical subject, and you need to, like, each pattern needs to be checked properly so that not a centimeter, not a millimeter even is out of range. And so when you want to design for, like, usually they take 34B as the average size, and we design for that. And then the patterns are graded. So they're graded with a technique that's specially like, we have to practice it and get it right, because each measurement is like, if you have a cup and then it keeps on adding 1 centimeter, 1 inch, or the
Right.
measurement getting added. So you grade your patterns, and that's how you get different sizes. And the plus size models are, I mean, like, that's a range that is actually booming right now, because the
Yeah.
like that, like what it was about 10 years ago. And people have understood that, there are people with needs, and we need to meet that. We need to meet those needs.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's so important that brands and designers continue to do that, because I think sometimes we leave out, people who are on the plus side and people who are also, more on the slimmer side. So I think it's nice to have, all the sizes catered for, but it's good to know that you've got like a way to do that which caters for those people. And so I think something that we all girls struggle with, which I'm sure I can kind of relate to a lot of other girls in this matter, is bra shopping and lingerie shopping. I think can be super, super difficult. And so I'd love to know, what advice do you have for someone or a young girl that's looking to buy lingerie or even, a proper bra? Because I think a bra is just, it's more than just an aesthetic. It's, your comfort. It makes you feel safe, makes you feel secure. So what is something that you think that we should be looking out for when we are doing our, monthly or yearly, sometimes even bra shopping?
So the thing with bras is that you need to make sure that the fit is right, because
Mm,
if it isn't right, you will feel uncomfortable, and that's something that people really do not want with their bra, because that's the first layer on your body. That's the first protection for your breasts, and
absolutely.
really sensitive. So you have to make sure your fit is right by by checking the band, if it sits properly. Your bridge, the thing in the center of the breasts, that has to sit on the body. Your underwire should not sit on the breast tissue. Always scoop it in whenever you're wearing it. And the hook at the back should go on the second hook. Like when you hook it in, it should be in the middle, not on the first one, not on the last one.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, and one thing another many people do not realize is that your bra can only last for about 6 months.
Mm,
So you shouldn't like overuse it, because then it's just harming your breast.
yeah.
You have to keep getting a new one after some time.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people don't know that, because I'm guilty of that. I think I've got some things in my drawer that have maybe been there for 1 or 2 years, but it's really important that, again, what you said, you know, getting new ones on a wherever 6 months you said.
Yeah, about 6 to 9 months.
Six
Yeah.
months, yeah. And what about like washing? Like, do you, because obviously some lingerie and some bras are made from lace and other fabrics, and would you recommend that that should be done like within two
Yeah.
weeks or a monthly or?
So washing the bras is very important. When you're washing it with your hand, you shouldn't wash it in the machine,
Yeah,
because the underwire, etc., like it just gets tangled up, and the fabric starts crumpling. So it's better if you hand wash your bras. That is always the way to go with
the
bras.
safest option, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with
So
that. And so what did you say?
it can preserve the bra for a longer time.
Absolutely, yeah, because I think when you put in the washing machine, it can damage it a lot quicker than, as you mentioned, if you hand wash it. It's just safer. And I think it's not the easier option, but definitely long term, I think it's the most effective option. And so, I think going back to the whole pandemic and how it's really impacted our ways of working, I know that you're working on a new collection at the moment. I'm just wondering if you can perhaps tell us a bit more about it and what your inspiration has been behind it, and if the pandemic has kind of impacted your inspiration behind it, really.
Yeah, so the thing is that I have started designing, like I was really anxious when the pandemic came up, and like when it started, the whole thing, like it started in the UK, and I really knew that this is a very sad situation when people started dying, and Italy was in such a bad situation. I knew that I needed to design something that would look towards the future and not at the past, but learn from the past. So I started designing post intimate, like post COVID intimate wear. So
Mm-hmm.
pandemic intimate wear that focuses on health, wellness, and on the body, on the human body, and something that people would want to wear, which would give them healing properties. So I'll just show you some of the embroideries. Like I also wanted to like I wanted to make it for the people, and I wanted it to be something that everyone will would want to wear, because it's made by like some of like our own people,
Yeah.
these women who would work like on embroideries and from the villages, and who would love to get some work done right now, because their husbands are unemployed, and they are the sole breadwinners in their family. So that's how I got these embroideries done. Like I'll just show you some of them.
Yeah, please.
So it's like this.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, so
Hmm.
this is the type of embroidery. that I got done. And
That's really beautiful. Yeah, I love the little pop of color.
exactly, and I try to work with a lot of knits as well. So like the fabric has is made of knitted, like it's a knitted fabric from a company called Asai Kasai. So they are my key sponsors right now, and they are based in Japan. So I wrote to them and I asked them if I could collaborate with them or like they could sponsor my fabric, and they agreed. So it was amazing.
Wow. So is your fabric coming from Japan to the UK now? Oh my God,
It,
wow.
it came from Japan to India, and then now I brought it to UK.
Oh,
So
so it's a whole entire journey from basically traveling the world.
exactly. And like this fabric is really nice because it has amazing wicking properties. So the company's name is Asai Kase, and this is their Bember Q Pro fabric. So this fabric has like properties such as it is biodegradable and it is sustainable, and it's made in like with a regenerated cellulosic fiber, which is basically when you put it back in the soil, it will degenerate easily.
Oh wow. So it's very ethical, and I
Exactly.
love that you're tapping into the whole kind of sustainability movement, because I think, as I was discussing as well before, is with the whole pandemic, I think people are definitely going to look to shop more ethically.
Correct.
So is your inspiration behind this collection then kind of this whole movement of the ethical side of things, or yeah?
More of yeah, as well ethical as well as because I want to make something that people will feel comfortable wearing because they're stuck at home, and a lot of people want to focus more on their health and wellness.
Mm.
A huge industry right now that's booming. So I think if you're making garments like this, I dyed this fabric itself. I dyed it with neem and aloe vera and haldi, like that's turmeric.
Wow, yeah.
Got some really amazing results. So these results, I mean, this fabric would help the body when it comes to like people with cancer or so many other like diseases who want to wear things that are well like which aren't harming their body, because when you wear a bra that is dyed with basic dyes or acid dyes, it harms your body because that color has chemicals in it and
Absolutely.
like on your skin throughout the day.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're completely right. I love that you mentioned that you're kind of doing a lot of the dyeing at home. I think, being an Indian, I think we've got so many different like Ayurveda techniques that are so amazing and so good for us. But I also
Exactly.
love that you mentioned that you want to make garments that are comfortable to wear. And especially with lingerie, I think people kind of look to them to be really uncomfortable, itchy, not the best kind of fit to your body. But I love that you're kind of investing into the right materials that kind of feel good on the body.
Correct.
Um, and so I know that you mentioned as well before that I think you traveled to Japan and another place as well, and that's kind of where you got your inspiration from. And you mentioned that India and our culture is something that really inspires your garments. So I'd love for you to tell us a bit more about kind of your inspiration about how our culture impacts your way of thinking.
So I studied in Bunka Gakken Daigaku, like that's Bunka Gakken University, for about a semester exchange when I was in my third year in NIFT. And that really opened my eyes to a lot of things because the culture, the precision in each of their things, like when they're stitching, when they're draping, they'll pin it properly. Like, they'll be like, oh, if you pin it the other way, they'll be like, no, remove it and pin it again. So thing that I learned over there, as well as I learned foundation garments over there. So in that course, we learned how to, we were taught how to basically mold the body and how to contour the body in the right manner and cut patterns and like so many things, as well as like when I traveled over there, I saw the way they like the people, how they wore their clothing and street fashion. So these things inspired me, as well as when I came like India constantly inspires me, like the country, the culture, the traditions, everything. Like my one of my collections that I showcased was it was called Kafi Morris, and it was based on Indian goddesses and how we perceive them, their strength, and all the properties that make them so amazing. And as kids, we look up to that, and so I sort of inculcated whatever I had learned and used that in my design. So, and also embroideries, like when you come to embroideries in India, there are so many embroideries. Each state has
So many.
exactly, and the fabric and everything. Like, and I have friends who are like dyers who are like really good at embroidery and stuff, and they were the ones who motivated me, inspired me to venture into this like entirely. They said, why are you looking at international markets? Why don't you look at India? Like, we have so much here. Why don't you actually try and use this in your designs? And I must say, like, they are one of my like, they are the ones who actually like taught me a lot when I was in
Pushed you, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I think India has so much to offer. I think our culture, it's so interesting to see how a lot of your lingerie kind of inspiration is from our culture, as you mentioned, how you've got the dyeing and, you know, like haldi and all of that, and you've got the embroidery as well. So it's really nice to see that our culture is beautiful as it is, but it can be, I think, incorporated in so many other ways as well. So I love that you're kind of taking inspiration from our culture, which, I mean, makes sense. Why wouldn't you? um, so I guess, what are you planning on doing next? Because I know that you are almost done with your master's now, and I know that you're kind of planning to go back to India and kind of, you know, make your mark there. So yeah, what is your next steps, and what would your ultimate dream be, so to say?
So I'm just a beginner in this industry. I always consider myself like I'm just learning, I'm just starting out. So I feel like I really want to learn from the brands here. My main motive to come to the UK and study here was that there are such amazing lingerie designers here. Like, there are brands that are killing it, so to say, and who are like really have accomplished a lot, and they know the art of lingerie. So what I want to do is take the traditional techniques, take something that's so authentically Indian, and bring it to a global platform. That's why I have to like learn about how it is done here. So one of the reasons, like, what I plan on doing next is an internship or like getting some experience here from designers, and then probably in the future going back to India and starting something of my own.
Yeah, being a boss, what you already are. I love that. And I think also we were kind of discussing from the last time that we spoke is how India, I mean, huge market, population is crazy, very high purchasing power, but a lot of you know, brands and garment kind of creators are not really paying a lot of attention to, I guess, the ethics behind what they're producing. So as you mentioned, a lot of the buttons and a lot of the small details within the garments are, you know, not the healthiest for your body. So I'm sure from our conversation today, you're looking to, you know, produce more sustainable garments that are make you feel good, but are also good for your body.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the main aim. Like, I've seen like a lot of Indian brands recently have started accepting sustainable garments and have started building on this trend that's come out everywhere. So if for lingerie, I feel that is something that is lagging, not just
Mm.
in like internationally as well. Although there are brands like Eboje from the US that have tapped into that market. So, and also like there are some indie brands in India as well, but bringing it to a bigger like platform, mass producing it, like, my, as you said, my main goal is to have one of my pieces in everyone's closet, and I want everyone to feel that they like the brand is for them, by them, and belongs to them. So that's the whole ethos of my thinking, and I want to make something that makes everybody healthier, makes them feel comfortable, and gives them a good fit.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's so important when it comes to garments is, you know, you feel good, and, you know, you feel confident, you feel amazing, but then as well as the chemical, not the chemicals, but the garment that you're wearing is obviously good for your body. So I love that you're tapping into those three different areas. So what advice would you give to someone maybe who's, you know, 18, 19, or even maybe older than us, looking to kind of venture into the intimate wear field and wants to maybe be a lingerie wear designer? Yeah, what would your kind of tips and advice be to them?
I don't know if I'm the right person to give an advice, or like give advice, but then what I can say is that just be motivated and just be focused. So the thing is that when you start working towards like intimate wear and lingerie, there'll be a lot of people who tell you it doesn't work, it's too technical, it's difficult, like the market isn't there for it, or like it's difficult to get a job, which are true. But then if you're really passionate about it, you
Mm,
find a way. So you have to pave the path yourself.
absolutely. And just believe in yourself.
You believe in yourself, and
Because I'm sure that you've also had some challenges as well, where not everything has been, you know, perfect and all flowers and sunshine. But I guess what you said, just keep pushing through. I think there's always going to be a light at the end of the tunnel.
exactly.
So before we end the interview, because I can speak to you for ages, I think it's so amazing what you're doing and what you've achieved so far. What is a personal mantra that you live by?
So what I do is I usually set up my mantra as my screensaver, like on my lock screen. So every day, the first thing that I wake up is that I see that mantra and I realize that that is the way I have to go. So the one I follow right now is by Swami Vivekananda, who was an Indian saint. It says, "Arise, awake, and do not stop until your goal is reached."
I love that. Yeah, very, I think it's short, but very impactful and very powerful. So I think everyone that's watching, and if someone isn't, watching right now, will listen to this after, who is looking to kind of work with as a designer or within the intimate wear field, I think just keep pushing, follow your dreams, and I think just keep working hard, and you will definitely reap the results.
Exactly.
I want to
Well,
say thank you so much, Simran, for speaking to me.
thank you, Alicia. Thank you for having me. It was a
Of
lot.
course, of course, it's been so lovely speaking to you. I'm so happy that the connection was amazing during this live. I'm sure that everyone was watching. It was a good take that we did this again. I wish you all the very best for the future. And again, I mean, I still remember seeing you at Leicester Fashion Week and seeing this Indian girl walk in with her suitcase and her lingerie pieces. I think it's so inspiring. So I wish you all the very best. And to everyone that's watching, thank you for tuning in. And I hope you have a lovely, lovely day.
You too. Have a lovely day. Take.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye. Bye.